In the heart of a peaceful human colony, the sun rose over a bright park. Children laughed and played, their joy echoing through the air. The park was filled with colorful flowers, and families enjoyed picnics under the shade of tall trees. Among the children was a little girl named Lily, a bright and adventurous soul. She loved exploring and playing pretend, often imagining herself as a brave hero. As Lily played with her younger brother, Tommy, she spotted a group of children building a fort nearby. "Come on, Tommy! Let's join them!" she exclaimed, pulling him along with her. They ran across the soft grass, their laughter filling the air. But as they approached the fort, a sudden shadow fell over the park. The children paused, looking up in confusion. What they saw made their hearts race. Dark ships loomed in the sky, their metal bodies glinting ominously in the sunlight. These were not ordinary ships. They belonged to the alien raiders who had been terrorizing colonies across the galaxy. Panic spread like wildfire among the families in the park as they realized what was happening. Lily's eyes widened in fear. "We need to hide!" she shouted, grabbing Tommy's hand tightly. But before they could find safety, the aliens unleashed chaos. Explosions rocked the ground, sending shockwaves that knocked people off their feet. A bright flash of light lit up the sky as the raiders began their attack, targeting innocent lives with no mercy. The once peaceful park turned into a scene of horror. Parents screamed for their children, and children cried for their parents. In the midst of the chaos, Lily spotted a group of raiders heading toward her brother. She couldn't let them take him. "Stay here, Tommy!" she yelled, pushing him behind a nearby tree. With her small heart pounding, she stood in front of him, determined to protect her brother. The alien raiders were fearsome, with their dark, armored suits and terrifying weapons. But Lily's love for her brother gave her courage. She picked up a fallen stick, brandishing it like a sword. "Get away from my brother!" she shouted, her voice trembling but strong. For a moment, the aliens hesitated, surprised by the bravery of a little girl. But it was short-lived. One of the raiders laughed, a cold, chilling sound. He raised his weapon and fired. In an instant, everything changed. The world around Lily exploded into chaos. She felt a sharp pain in her chest and collapsed to the ground, her vision fading as she looked at Tommy. "I love you, Tommy," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. Tommy cried out for his sister, but his voice was drowned out by the sounds of destruction. The park, once filled with laughter, was now filled with cries of terror and despair. The raiders, satisfied with their destruction, flew away, leaving a scene of devastation behind them. News of the attack spread quickly across Earth. Every channel broadcast the horror of that day, showing the faces of families torn apart and communities shattered. The image of Lily, a brave little girl trying to protect her brother, became a symbol of innocence lost. People all over the planet were heartbroken and furious. They couldn't believe that such a terrible thing could happen. In the following days, candlelight vigils were held in honor of the victims. The girls' parents stood at the front, tears in their eyes as they spoke to the crowd. "We cannot let her death be in vain," they said. "We must unite and fight back against these monsters." Their words struck a chord in the hearts of everyone present. Anger turned into determination as the crowd erupted in cheers. The leaders of Earth watched from their screens, realizing that they had to act. The time for peace was over. The time for war had come. This tragedy ignited a flame in humanity, sparking a call to arms that would resonate throughout the galaxy. As the parents wept for their lost child, they became symbols of resilience. Their grief fueled a movement, and soon, Earth would unleash a force unlike anything the universe had ever seen. As the news of the attack spread, the entire planet was shaken. People couldn't believe that a little girl had lost her life, and the anger they felt turned into a burning desire for justice. In cities across the globe, protests erupted. Crowds gathered in front of government buildings, waving signs and shouting slogans. "No more peace! We want revenge!" they cried. The emotions were raw and powerful. In a high-tech war room, the leaders of Earth convened for an emergency meeting. The room was filled with generals, scientists, and politicians, all anxious to discuss how to respond to the tragedy. Holographic screens displayed images of the alien ships and footage of the attack. The atmosphere was tense as everyone recognized the seriousness of the situation. At the head of the table stood General Matthews, a tall, strong man known for his courage and strategic mind. He looked around the room, seeing the determination in the eyes of his fellow leaders. "We cannot sit back and allow this to happen again," he began, his voice steady and powerful. "We must take action. It is time to show the aliens that humanity will not be pushed around." The room erupted in murmurs. Some leaders voiced concerns about the risks of war, while others insisted that a powerful response was necessary. General Matthews listened carefully, then raised his hand for silence. "We have technology they do not understand," he said. "We possess the strength of our unity. Together we can mobilize our entire fleet." A map of the galaxy appeared on the screens, showing the locations of Earth's military ships. The fleet was vast, composed of over 700,000 dreadnoughts, each one a symbol of human ingenuity. These massive warships were equipped with the most advanced technology imaginable: cloaking devices that rendered them invisible, powerful laser cannons capable of demolishing entire enemy fleets, and AI systems that could calculate battle strategies in real time. As the discussion continued, excitement filled the room. One by one, leaders stood to pledge their support. "We will send our best pilots," one general declared. "Our scientists will enhance the ship's capabilities." The room buzzed with ideas, and soon a plan began to take shape. Within hours, the news of the mobilization reached every corner of Earth. Families gathered around their screens, watching in awe as images of the dreadnoughts being prepared for battle flashed across their TVs. The sight of these massive ships, lined up and ready to launch, sent chills down their spines. "We are ready to fight for our future," a news anchor proclaimed, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Back in the war room, preparations intensified. Soldiers trained day and night, honing their skills for the impending battle. They practiced tactics, learned how to operate the advanced technology, and prepared themselves mentally for the fight ahead. Among them was Commander Jake, a fierce and determined leader who had lost friends in previous battles. He knew that the upcoming conflict would be one of the most significant challenges humanity had ever faced. As the days passed, the dreadnoughts were equipped with everything they needed. Engineers worked tirelessly, making sure every system was functioning perfectly. The ships glimmered under the sunlight, a mix of metal and advanced technology ready to face the alien threat. On the day of the launch, the atmosphere was electric. Families gathered at the launch sites, waving flags and cheering for their heroes. Commander Jake stood on a platform, addressing the crowd. "Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for every child, every family, and every future generation. We fight for Lily and all those who have suffered. Let us show the galaxy that humanity will not back down." His words resonated with everyone present. Tears mixed with smiles as people held on to hope and courage. As the dreadnoughts began to lift off, the ground trembled with their power. The sky was filled with the roar of engines, and a wave of determination swept over Earth. With the fleet in motion, the people of Earth united, ready to face the unknown. They knew that a great battle awaited them, but they also knew they were stronger together. As the dreadnoughts soared into the stars, humanity prepared to show the universe what they were capable of. This was more than a fight. It was a declaration that Earth would stand against the darkness. As the massive fleet of dreadnoughts soared through the stars, the crew members aboard each ship felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. The journey into deep space was a symbol of humanity's determination to avenge the innocent lives lost. Commander Jake stood on the bridge of his flagship, the USS Valor, looking at the screens filled with stars. He could feel the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "Steady as she goes," he said, trying to calm his crew. They were all focused on their duties, but he could see the tension in their faces. This mission was not just about defeating the aliens, it was about honoring the memory of the little girl and everyone else who had suffered at their hands. As they traveled deeper into space, the crew prepared for what lay ahead. Officers reviewed battle plans, engineers fine-tuned the ship's systems, and pilots practiced maneuvers. Each member of the crew knew that they might face death, but their resolve only grew stronger. They were fighting for a cause greater than themselves, and that gave them courage. Days turned into weeks as they moved through the galaxy, leaving Earth far behind. The vastness of space was both beautiful and terrifying. Commander Jake gathered his officers on the bridge. "We have received intelligence about an alien outpost," he said, his voice firm. "This is where they planned their attacks against us. We need to hit them hard and fast." The officers nodded, their expressions serious. They knew that this outpost was heavily guarded, but they also understood that this was their chance to make a statement. The crew prepared for battle, their hearts racing with adrenaline. They would not just be attacking, they would be sending a message that humanity was not to be underestimated. As they approached the outpost, the tension in the air was palpable. The Dreadnoughts moved in formation, their cloaking devices activated, making them invisible to enemy sensors. Commander Jake felt a thrill of excitement. They were close now. "Prepare to drop the cloak," he ordered, his heart pounding in his chest. "On my mark, 3, 2, 1, now!" With a flick of a switch, the cloaking devices turned off, revealing their fleet in all its might. The aliens, taken by surprise, scrambled to defend their position. Laser fire erupted across the void as the two forces clashed. The bright beams of light illuminated the darkness, creating a dazzling yet terrifying spectacle. "Engage the enemy!" Commander Jake shouted, rallying his crew. The USS Valor launched into the fray, and the crew worked together like a well-oiled machine. Pilots maneuvered their ships with precision, dodging incoming fire while returning their own. The Dreadnoughts unleashed their powerful laser cannons, and the alien ships began to explode one by one. Amid the chaos, Jake spotted an alien ship attempting to flank them. "Follow my lead," he commanded, leading his ship into a daring maneuver. They spiraled through enemy fire, dodging blasts with incredible skill. Jake's heart raced as they closed in on the alien ship, firing their cannons with deadly accuracy. But it wasn't just the aliens they had to worry about. The battle was brutal, and they suffered losses of their own. Jake felt a sinking feeling each time he received a report of a ship down. He thought of the families back on Earth and the little girl they were fighting for. Each loss felt like a weight on his heart, reminding him of the stakes. As the battle raged on, a sense of urgency gripped Jake. They were making progress, but the aliens were relentless. Just as it seemed they might gain the upper hand, an enormous alien mothership appeared from the shadows, its massive form dwarfing the Dreadnoughts. The crew gasped, knowing this was their biggest challenge yet. "Stay focused," Jake shouted, trying to inspire confidence. "We've come too far to back down now. For every life lost, we will fight harder." His words echoed through the ship, and the crew felt a renewed sense of determination. They would not let fear overcome them. The battle escalated as the mothership opened fire, its weapons causing massive explosions. Jake and his crew worked together, coordinating their attacks with precision. They targeted the mothership's weak points, using their speed and agility to evade its powerful blasts. In a daring move, Jake led a small team to board the mothership, aiming to take out its core from the inside. As they infiltrated the massive ship, the crew faced fierce resistance from the alien guards. But the team fought bravely, pushing forward with one goal in mind, to end the threat once and for all. As they battled through the alien ship, the echoes of laser fire and the shouts of soldiers filled the air. Jake's heart raced as he pressed onward, driven by the memory of the innocent lives lost. They would not fail. They would ensure that no other child would suffer the same fate. With each step, they drew closer to the mothership's core. This was their moment of vengeance, and they would fight with everything they had. As Commander Jake and his team pressed deeper into the heart of the alien mothership, the air was thick with tension and the smell of scorched metal. Every corner they turned revealed more alien soldiers, their dark armor gleaming ominously in the dim light. The sound of laser fire echoed through the halls, a constant reminder of the battle raging outside. But Jake's resolve remained unshaken. They had come too far to turn back now. "Stay close and watch each other's backs," Jake shouted to his team as they moved cautiously through the narrow corridors. The walls were lined with strange symbols glowing faintly. It was clear this was no ordinary ship. They had to act quickly before reinforcements arrived. As they turned a corner, they encountered a group of alien guards. The aliens were fierce, their weapons ready. But Jake and his team were equally determined. "Fire," he commanded. The team opened fire, their laser beams cutting through the air. The aliens responded with their own weapons, and a fierce firefight ensued. Jake felt his heart racing as he fought alongside his team. Each shot fired was a step closer to justice, a chance to avenge the innocent lives lost, including Lily's. He could hear the cries of his fallen comrades outside, their bravery fueling his determination. They had to succeed, not just for themselves, but for every person who had suffered at the hands of these invaders. After what felt like an eternity of combat, they finally pushed through the last line of alien guards, entering a large control room. It was filled with screens showing the battle outside, displaying the chaos of ships clashing and explosions lighting up the darkness. Jake's eyes widened as he saw the Dreadnoughts struggling against the overwhelming forces of the mothership. "Look!" one of his team members shouted, pointing to a large central console. "That must be the control core. If we destroy it, we can cripple their entire fleet." Jake nodded, adrenaline pumping through his veins. "We have to plant explosives on it." "This is our chance!" They quickly set to work, placing the explosives while keeping an eye on their surroundings. But they knew they didn't have much time. The aliens would soon realize their core was under attack. As they worked, the ground shook violently. The mothership was taking hits from the Dreadnoughts outside, but the aliens were regrouping, and reinforcements were on their way. Jake felt a wave of urgency wash over him. "Hurry! We need to get this done before they surround us!" With the explosives in place, they started to back away, but a loud alarm blared through the room and red lights flashed. "They know we're here!" Jake shouted. "We need to move now!" Just as they turned to escape, a group of alien soldiers stormed into the room, weapons drawn. The team exchanged fire with the aliens, but they were outnumbered. Jake's heart sank as he saw his comrades falling. "We can't hold them off for long," one of his team members yelled. "Get to the exit! I'll cover you!" Jake shouted, determination burning in his chest. He wouldn't let them sacrifice themselves for him. The team hesitated, but he pushed them toward the door. "Go! Finish what we started!" As his team retreated, Jake faced the advancing aliens. He fought fiercely, dodging their attacks and firing back. His heart pounded as he took down alien after alien, but he knew he couldn't hold them off forever. The pressure was mounting, and he could hear the countdown of the explosives ticking down. Finally, the last of his team escaped, but Jake was now surrounded. He felt a mix of fear and adrenaline as he prepared for his final stand. "For Lily!" he shouted, raising his weapon and charging at the aliens. The explosives would go off any second, and he would make sure they would feel the weight of their actions. With a final burst of energy, Jake fought his way through the crowd of aliens, determined to create a path for his comrades. As he reached the console, he pressed the detonator, and a blinding flash of light filled the room. The blast sent shockwaves through the ship. Jake was thrown back, his vision blurring as the room erupted into chaos. Alarms blared, and the walls shook violently. He could hear the sounds of explosions and screams echoing in the distance. But he had done it. The control core was destroyed, and the mothership was in disarray. Outside, the Dreadnoughts took advantage of the chaos, launching a renewed attack. The tide was turning in their favor. As the smoke cleared, Jake struggled to his feet, his body aching. He had to make it back to his ship. The battle was far from over, but humanity had taken a significant step toward justice. He looked around at the destruction, the remnants of the alien ship crumbling. The fight would continue, but they had proven that they could stand up to their oppressors. Jake rushed back through the halls, determined to rejoin his team and lead them to victory. The battle for justice was just beginning, and he would fight until the end. The dust began to settle in the aftermath of the massive explosion within the alien mothership. Commander Jake pushed himself to stand, his body battered and sore, but his spirit soared with a sense of triumph. The control core's destruction had sent shockwaves throughout the alien fleet, and the Dreadnoughts were now seizing the advantage in battle. As Jake hurried back to the bridge of the USS Valor, he could feel the adrenaline coursing through him. The sounds of battle echoed outside, but the chaos now felt different, more chaotic, yet hopeful. The Dreadnoughts were unleashing everything they had against the remaining alien forces. Laser beams lit up the dark space, creating a dazzling yet deadly dance of destruction. "Commander!" shouted Lieutenant Sarah, his trusted second-in-command, as Jake entered the bridge. "We're gaining ground! The mothership is destabilizing, and the rest of the alien fleet is in disarray. We're pushing them back!" Jake's heart swelled with pride. "Good work, everyone! Let's finish this fight once and for all!" He took his position at the command console, issuing orders to engage the remaining enemy ships. The crew responded with renewed energy, their determination ignited by the recent victory. As the USS Valor maneuvered through the battlefield, Jake watched as one by one the alien ships fell under the relentless assault of the Dreadnoughts. The sight was both exhilarating and sobering. Each explosion reminded him of the lives lost, including that of the innocent little girl who had sparked this conflict. "Target the remaining ships and prepare for a final strike," Jake commanded, his voice steady. "Let's show them that humanity stands united." The crew worked swiftly, aiming their weapons at the last remaining alien ships. Each blast felt like a blow against the cruelty they had endured. As the final enemy ship exploded in a brilliant flash, the bridge erupted in cheers. Jake could hardly believe it. They had done it. They had avenged Lily and fought for justice. But amid the celebrations, a quiet thought lingered in Jake's mind. What had they lost along the way? He turned to Sarah, who was also catching her breath. "What's the status of our losses?" he asked, concern etched on his face. Sarah's expression shifted from joy to sorrow. "We lost many good people, Commander. Some of our best soldiers." Her voice trailed off, and Jake felt the weight of their sacrifices pressing on his heart. In that moment, the celebrations faded into the background. The reality of war sank in, and Jake felt a deep sense of responsibility. They had fought bravely, but at what cost? Each name of the fallen echoed in his mind. They were heroes, each one worthy of remembrance. "Set up a memorial for our lost soldiers," Jake said, his voice resolute. "We must honor their sacrifice and ensure their names are never forgotten." The crew nodded solemnly, understanding the gravity of their commander's words. As the USS Valor and the rest of the fleet began to regroup, Jake took a moment to reflect. They had fought not just against the alien threat, but also for their own humanity. The battle had shown them the strength of unity and the power of courage in the face of overwhelming odds. A holographic image of Lily appeared on the main screen, projected from footage taken before the attack. She smiled brightly, a reminder of the innocence that had been lost. Jake felt a lump in his throat. "This is for you, Lily," he whispered. "We will make sure no one else suffers like you did." The crew gathered around the screen, sharing the moment of reflection. They were all aware that the fight was far from over. The alien threat may still linger, hidden in the vastness of space. But today they had made a stand. They had shown that humanity could fight back and that their spirit could not be broken. As the fleet began its journey back to Earth, Jake looked out at the stars. The universe was vast, filled with mysteries and challenges, but he felt a sense of hope. Humanity had united in their darkest hour, and that bond would only grow stronger. "Prepare to return to Earth," he commanded, a sense of peace washing over him. "Let's go home." As the engines roared to life, Jake knew this was not just a victory, it was a turning point. They had proven that together they could overcome anything. The sacrifices of their fallen would guide them, a reminder that every life mattered and that justice would always be worth fighting for. With the stars as their backdrop, the fleet surged forward, united in purpose and ready to face whatever lay ahead. The journey back to Earth was filled with reflection and healing. The crew knew they had a long road ahead, but they would face it together as a family bound by shared loss and victory.